It's a sound that has haunted true crime for years, a chilling directive spoken in a low, commanding voice, "Down the hill." Those three words, echoing through the misty woods of Delphi, Indiana, have become infamous, replayed countless times by investigators, journalists, and armchair detectives alike. The phrase is more than just evidence. It's a ghostly reminder of a day that changed a small town forever. The world only knew those three words. But the real shock was who captured them. It wasn't a police officer or a bystander. It was one of the victims herself, showing unimaginable courage in the face of danger. The recording, made on a simple cell phone, would become the most crucial clue in a case that baffled even the most seasoned detectives. 14-year-old Liberty German, in her final moments, recorded her killer's voice on her cell phone. With her best friend Abby Williams by her side, Libby's quick thinking preserved a vital piece of evidence. In that terrifying moment, she managed to do what many adults might not have. She documented the threat, leaving behind a message that would outlast her own life. This act of bravery became the cornerstone of a massive investigation. Law enforcement swarmed the area, combing through the woods and searching for any sign of the girls or their attacker. The recording galvanized the police, giving them a voice to chase, a rare and invaluable lead in a case like this. That audio, paired with a grainy image captured on Libby's phone, turned the Delphi murders into a global mystery. The world watched as investigators released the haunting voice in the blurry photo of a man on the bridge, hoping someone somewhere would recognize him. The case drew attention from across the country and beyond, with people everywhere trying to help solve the puzzle. Libby's recording transformed her and Abby from victims into active seekers of justice. Their story inspired vigils, tributes, and a wave of support from people who refused to let their memory fade. The community rallied, determined to honor the girls by never giving up the search for answers. The community clung to those few clues, hoping for a break that seemed impossible. In Delphi, neighbors became investigators, and strangers became friends, all united by a shared hope that justice would one day be served. The case became a symbol of resilience, showing how even in the darkest times, a community can come together. The voice on the tape was a constant, unnerving reminder of the evil that had walked among them. Each time it played, it reignited the determination to find the person responsible. For many, it was impossible to forget. The sound was etched into the collective memory of Delphi, a call for justice that refused to be silenced. Libby's message was clear. Her killer would one day have to answer for his crimes. Her bravery ensured that, even in death, her voice would continue to speak, urging the world to keep searching for the truth and to never let her story be forgotten. Delphi, Indiana, a quiet town until February 13th, 2017. Best friends Abby Williams and Libby German set out for a hike on the Monon High Bridge Trail. They documented their day, laughing and taking photos, unaware of the danger nearby. When they missed their pickup, worry set in fast, calls went unanswered, and a search began as night fell. The next day, their bodies were found near Deer Creek, half a mile from the bridge. The town was shattered, left with grief and questions. Who could have committed such a crime in their peaceful community? The answer, it turned out, was hidden on Libby's phone. The investigation would never be the same. The horror of Abby and Libby's deaths unfolded slowly, each detail more disturbing. The girls were murdered, their necks cut, and the scene suggested calculated violence. Some clothing was found in the creek, sticks were arranged over their bodies. The Monon High Bridge became a symbol of loss, cordoned off by police. Investigators had a crime scene, but few leads. The town was consumed by the mystery. 2 girls, murdered in daylight, no clear motive. The families became advocates for justice, clinging to hope. Unbeknownst to all, Libby had left behind the most crucial evidence. Amid grief, a breakthrough, Libby's cell phone, found under Abby, held a 43-second video. Sensing danger, Libby recorded the man stalking them. Bridge guy. The footage is shaky, showing Abby ahead and a man in a blue jacket following. His face is obscured, his pace steady, his presence chilling. Police released a still image, hoping someone would recognize it. The photo went viral, haunting the public and fueling speculation. Thousands of tips poured in, but Bridge Guy remained unidentified. The video was both a blessing and a frustration. So close, yet incomplete. It was a silent record of the girls' final moments, captured by a hero. The investigation now had a face, but not a name. The audio captured on Libby's phone would become the most chilling and crucial piece of evidence in the entire investigation. In the midst of fear and uncertainty, Libby had the presence of mind to start recording, her phone quietly documenting the final moments before everything changed. This single act would later provide investigators, and the world, with a haunting window into what happened that day. When police first released a snippet of the recording, it was just a few seconds long. Only the phrase "down the hill" was made public, a simple command, but one that would become infamous almost overnight. The words echoed across news broadcasts and social media, sparking endless speculation and fear. People everywhere tried to analyze the voice, searching for clues in its tone and cadence. It wasn't until years later, during the highly anticipated trial of Richard Allen, that more of the recording was finally played in court. The courtroom was silent as the audio filled the room, every word heavy with meaning. For many, it was the first time they heard the full context, and the impact was immediate and profound. In the recording, Libby's own voice can be heard, calm but uncertain. "The trail ends here. We have to go down." It's a moment that captures the innocence of two friends exploring the woods, unaware of the danger that was closing in around them. Then, suddenly, the man's voice cuts through, firm, commanding, and unmistakably in control. "Guys, down the hill!" In just 4 words, the entire mood shifts. The phrase is no longer just a clue, it's a direct order, a turning point that marks the beginning of the nightmare. Prosecutors argued that, in the background, a gun could be heard being racked, a chilling detail that suggested the killer was armed and ready to use force. This sound, subtle but unmistakable, added a new layer of terror to the evidence, reinforcing the threat the girls faced in those final moments. The audio revealed not just the presence of danger, but the calculated control and coercion exerted by the suspect. It was the moment when a simple hike turned into an abduction, and the girls' lives were forever changed. The fear and tension in their voices made it painfully clear how quickly everything had unraveled. Hearing the full exchange in court brought the crime into sharp, undeniable focus. The raw emotion in the audio left a lasting impression on everyone present, jurors, detectives, and family members alike. It was a moment that made the horror of that day real in a way that no photograph or testimony ever could. The voice on the tape was no longer just a mysterious clue. It had become the script of a tragedy, a record of fear, courage, and loss. For investigators, it was a vital lead. For the families, it was a heartbreaking reminder of what was taken from them. Those words, "guys down the hill," would echo in the courtroom and in the memories of all who heard them for years after. They serve as a stark reminder of the tragedy and the enduring search for justice. For 5 long years, the Delphi murders haunted the small Indiana town. The case grew cold, with investigators chasing leads that led nowhere, and families left with only questions and heartbreak. The community's hope for justice faded as the trail went silent, until October 2022, when a sudden breakthrough reignited the investigation and shocked everyone following the case. Police arrested Richard Allen, a quiet Delphi resident who worked as a pharmacy technician at the local CVS. To neighbors, Allen seemed unremarkable, just another face in the crowd. But behind closed doors, investigators believed he held the answers to a mystery that had gripped the nation. Allen had previously admitted to being on the Monon High Bridge trails the very day Abby and Libby disappeared. His appearance and clothing matched the infamous bridge guy seen in the grainy video captured by Libby's phone. This chilling resemblance placed him at the heart of the investigation, raising new questions about his involvement. The prosecution's case was built on 4 crucial pillars: the haunting video and audio evidence from Libby's phone, Allen's own admission of being on the trail, and the results of a detailed ballistics analysis. Each piece of evidence, they argued, pointed directly to Allen's guilt. Perhaps the most damning was an unspent .40 caliber bullet found at the crime scene. Forensic experts determined it had been cycled through Allen's handgun, a rare and specific match. This physical link between Allen and the scene became a cornerstone of the prosecution's argument. The defense, however, fiercely challenged the evidence. They questioned the reliability of the ballistics analysis and argued that the bullet could have been contaminated or mishandled. Still, prosecutors insisted the bullet was a direct and undeniable link to Allen. What truly stunned the public were Allen's alleged confessions. According to court documents, he confessed over 60 times to both family members and fellow inmates while in jail. These repeated admissions painted a disturbing picture of a man burdened by guilt, unable to keep his secret any longer. In one particularly chilling letter, Allen wrote, "I am ready to officially confess for killing Abby and Libby." The letter, written in his own hand, became a key piece of evidence, offering a rare glimpse into his state of mind and the weight of his alleged crimes. The defense argued that Allen's mental health was deteriorating, claiming his confessions were the result of severe psychological distress and not genuine admissions of guilt. Despite these arguments, the judge ruled that the confessions were admissible, allowing them to become a central part of the prosecution's case. Yet one critical piece was missing: DNA evidence. Despite exhaustive forensic testing, no DNA was found at the scene that could be conclusively tied to Allen. This absence left a gap in the case, fueling debate among legal experts and the public alike. Even without DNA, the case against Richard Allen was formidable. The combination of circumstantial evidence, ballistics, and his own words created a powerful narrative for the prosecution. The eyes of the nation turned to Delphi, waiting to see if justice would finally be served. For the first time, the shadowy figure known only as Delphi's Phantom had a name and a face. The community, once gripped by fear and uncertainty, now watched as the case against Richard Allen unfolded, hoping for answers and closure at last. Eyewitnesses helped complete the picture of the suspect. Rayleigh Voorhees testified she saw a grumpy, overdressed man on the trails, later recognizing him as Bridge Guy. Her account placed the suspect near the crime, behaving oddly. Other witnesses described a creepy man watching them near the bridge. These sightings helped investigators build a timeline of the suspect's movements. Bridge Guy was no longer just a blurry image, he was a real, unsettling presence. In court, these testimonies stripped away Allen's ordinary facade. The man on the trail was now unmistakably the man on trial. In November 2024, Richard Allen was found guilty and sentenced to 130 years. Relief swept through Delphi, but the story wasn't over. In March 2025, the full 43-second video leaked online, causing uproar and pain for the families. The leak violated court orders and forced the community to relive the horror. Meanwhile, Allen's defense filed an appeal, challenging the confessions and the bullet evidence. The legal saga continues, keeping the case in the headlines. For the families, true closure remains elusive. Even with a conviction, the echoes of the crime persist. The Delphi murders are a story of darkness, but also of courage and resilience. Libby's final act, recording her killer, helped solve her own murder. The families endured years of grief, never giving up hope. The conviction brought some closure, but questions remain. The lack of DNA evidence and ongoing appeals mean the case isn't fully closed. Abby and Libby's legacy is one of bravery and a community's fight for justice. Their story reminds us of the light that can emerge from tragedy. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe for more true crime stories.